Well, look at that. We still got the timing side of things narrowly down here in terms of discussing things upcoming before they actually happen. And then, well, then it happens. Today, we got another surprise update from Modern Warfare 2. As the pattern for the updates that are logged earlier on, that continues on, where a few days later, we do get that update. So first and foremost, know this update that we got today is not Season 2 related. Nothing here is in relation to the structural or fundamental builds of the game that we'll see altered for multiplayer, DMZ, and Warzone as of Season 2. No content here is going to be introduced with this update, but there are some changes overall that you definitely should know about. Ones that may be of importance to you depending on where you're at. But as we go along, drop your thoughts down below. Like the update, looking for a little more, whatever the case, drop your thoughts. And as well, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2 and COD related content. Love to have you in the community, but for now, let's get into it. First and foremost, what about the sizing here of this update? This is a title update, so unfortunately, unlike playlist updates or hot fixes, you won't be able to just simply restart your application. You do have to wait for an actual download to happen. Now, the nice part is that this isn't something that should take a huge chunk out of your day. It's a much smaller update, so you will be able to jump back in, play the game, or it won't take away from any of your other bandwidth that you may be using, like the Season 2 update likely will, where it's going to be much larger. Now, it was about a gig on PC. From what I saw, I think it was about 890 megabytes, and then I think it was around like 330 megabytes on PlayStation. Xbox, admittedly, don't own the game on that platform, but it is something that, again, it's a smaller update. You can kind of breeze through it more than likely, but that's something you will have to download. Now, as for what you can expect, again, no content or anything like this. From what we see with the patch notes, which we'll go over here in just a second, it does seem like more minor bug fixes, stability changes, and things like that. So some of the stuff we predicted as of yesterday does indeed actually happen here with this. So let's jump right into the actual patch notes itself. The first and probably biggest thing here out of this update is, again, the general change here overall to global in regards to crashing. It states this update contains several fixes to reduce the number of known crashes. We continue to prioritize increased stability and crash fixes across all platforms. Now, we will talk a little bit about and a little bit of a recap here of my tech struggles, just to give some context as to how this update may be able to help or where we're at here at this, because that's just been a saga that I've updated you guys so much on. I feel like, you know, you're kind of invested in it as much as me, but we'll touch on that in a second with the actual notes here before we jump into that kind of stuff and give you some more talk about the stability and how right now just seeing that listed isn't necessarily enough to write it off as 100% fact. But I say that, of course, with the hopes of, yes, it is 100% fact. But historically, we've seen that and there still needs to be work done sometimes. Now, beyond that, in terms of global stuff, we saw a bunch of bug fixes go out here at this in regards to, say, things like issues that showed weapon decals and stickers as blocked. It fixed an issue where the spotter scope could cause targets to have permanent live marks here when aimed down sight with a weapon. It fixed an issue allowing the sentry gun to be placed inside of a tank to eliminate enemies. It fixed an issue where the gun screens weren't showing correctly on the gunsmith UI tile. It fixed an issue in the gunsmith where players could be kicked back out to the main menu when creating a custom knife. It fixed an issue in gunsmith that could cause the knife variants to display incorrectly. It fixed an issue that prevented some players from saving a custom mod while trying to select a camo. It fixed an issue causing some players to crash when dismissing a notification, and it fixed some issues players were having with accessing and leaving the firing range. Now, that's one part that is a little bit more vague. I know one issue that persisted was crashing, where if somebody tried to queue up for a game and you were in their party, you weren't exactly the host, but they were queuing for a match as you were in that firing range. If you'd swap to your secondary, sometimes even on your primary, your game overall would crash. It wouldn't just kick you out to the main menu. That's something that I don't know if that would be encompassed with that. They didn't give any more specific details on that, but that's one thing that hopefully, again, kind of falls maybe in line with that firing range fix or in line with the stability stuff to combat crashes that we just mentioned. Now, in terms of navigation improvements, they addressed various issues with the social menu to improve navigation and functionality. They fixed an issue preventing some users from navigating through the friends and recent tab after scrolling over the top row. It fixed an issue where calling card previews are not displayed correctly in the challenge completion animation, and it fixed the UI issue causing text overlap in the after action report. Now, for Warzone 2.0, we did see some changes here as well, where in bug fixes, it fixed an issue where deploying a recon drone near water could cause some players to lose movement, but that was something that was the only change made to Warzone, the Battle Royale aspect, and then DMZ as well. We saw a few more DMZ-specific bug fixes and changes here, where it fixed an issue causing the rewards of faction missions to be displayed incorrectly. It addressed a number of issues impacting the functionality and navigation of equipping and previewing insured weapon slots, and it fixed an issue where players could not access gunsmith to change camos when equipping a launcher in the insured weapon slot. And another note, actually now while editing this, Raven confirmed another change over on the Warzone 2 side of things here, where Bird's Eye has been removed from the default perk package that it was associated with, and in its place now, Survivor will take that while they rebalance Bird's Eye. Bird's Eye was absolutely a perk that was broken, and in some cases it gave you this constant advanced UAV. So absolutely was something that was broken. We'll see how that's rebalanced, assumedly for season 2, but we'll have to wait and see. So that is update 1.14 and what changed here within Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2. So yes, it is a small update. It's not too glamorous, but I will say that it's absolutely an update that was needed. Some of these bugs were game breaking in regards to things like that spotter scope, continuous live mark bug, and some other stuff like that. But more importantly, the stability issue here with this. Now, this is one that I do want to touch on because, like I said, right now, I'm not taking this as 100% fact. I got my hopes up last update, 1.13, on the 20th, where they made a big deal once again, where the premier sort of change was more stability fixes here for the game. As you guys know, I still had crashing issues that came along with that. I do think that that's partially some hardware issue. The more and more that I dug deeper and deeper, I do think that I found some issues here with, I think it might be my RAM, but it's incredibly weird. Again, you'll see here in a second as I describe it. But in regards to these stability things, it does seem promising right up front, but get some hands-on time, go in with the expectation that, okay, maybe this might not fix the issues that I have, because that is something that over the past couple of months with Modern Warfare 2, and of course, every single year that we see this happen, it is something that the only stable constant is that if we end up getting our hopes up for those to completely fix out our crashing issues and stuff like that, we're probably still going to see a crash here and there. So while again, I do hope that this now 100% patches out and irons out all the issues with Modern Warfare 2 and the stability issues, I don't know that I'm necessarily putting all my chips on that just yet. So fingers crossed if you guys have been having crashing issues that this does fix out your problems and the game is in a playable state here after this update. But again, just know that it might not do exactly that. Now, in terms of, again, kind of coming back to it here, recapping where I'm at, I got my hopes up after the last update. It worked out well for the little bit. Then it started crashing on me regularly. Then I started to dig deeper. I decided, hey, let's really stress test some games with some high intensity stuff here. Started crashing on those. So I think it was a matter of both, again, a little bit of faulty hardware, but a little bit of also the game itself not being very stable in regards to the build that we had. The very odd thing that I have going right now is, again, I think that I finally have something to look out that I can change on my end, you know? I did a lot of memory tests here on my sticks of RAM where I got a couple of errors across hours of testing. I'm talking like 2 or 3 hits in terms of memory callback errors. But I was like, okay, well, if that means one's faulty, I'll test each one individually. But when I tested them individually, I had absolutely no issues. Then when I plugged them back in to be seated together and work together, I got no issues again. Then I started testing Modern Warfare and a couple of other games actually in game, not just even idle on the menu like I was before. And then I lasted about an hour and a half, crashed, and I was like, oh, come on, man. Like, I can't find the issue here. Then I left the game on overnight and it lasted 11 hours without a crash, which then took me to where this update required me to exit the game and restart to download the title update. So like, I really don't know what's going on right now. I mean, I guess we'll see how everything works out. But 11 hours is pretty promising. That's absolutely the longest I've gone here without a crash. So, I mean, fingers crossed, maybe it's fixed, maybe it isn't. I don't know. The crash last night after I thought I already fixed stuff out, it just has me incredibly confused. So, I mean, fingers crossed this update works for everybody else. Fingers crossed this works for me now, and we can all play the game and have a good time, you know? But for now, that is the update here and what we got with update 1.14. So let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys liking the sound of more stability updates? Are you looking forward to season 2's update here in just about 2 weeks time now at this point? Whatever the case, let me know down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and anything COD related. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.